Hey everyone, thanks for checking out the website. In this video, what we're going to be discussing is not necessarily are IULs better than 401ks or 401ks better than IULs. I'm just going to give you all the information in high level detail so that you can decide what's going to make the most sense for you. It's not one or the other. A lot of people utilize both of them. And it's not just 401ks, it's traditional retirement accounts as well. So I'm just going to give you the facts so that you can make the right decision. So if you take a look over here at my screen, I have a presentation pulled up, and this is going to help guide our conversation today. So one thing that a lot of people don't take into consideration are these points here. So traditional retirement accounts can let you down. It is possible, and it's because of this. Now, what you should know is that the contributions that you're making into your 401ks or your IRA, unless it's Roth, is that these are pre-tax. So when you go to withdraw money, you are going to be taxed at whatever the ordinary income rates are. And typically, if you look at the history, taxes tend to go up, not go down. So it's like putting money on a credit card to pay more later. You're gonna pay it no matter what. Uncle Sam always gets paid, but you're just gonna pay more for it. The next thing that you need to know about these accounts, especially 401ks, is that if you run into trouble or you have an emergency or there's some kind of business opportunity that arises and you need cash, if the money's stuck in your 401k and you're younger than 59 and a half, they're going to penalize you 10% plus you're going to pay tax. So you're the one that's worked, you're the one putting in the money, and they're going to give you a 10% penalty and you got to pay tax because you want to use your money before you're a certain age. That doesn't sound good. Not only do they punish you for taking money out early, but they're also going to dictate when you need to take money out. So there's something called your RMDs, which are your required minimum distributions, and they start at age 73. So you really have no freedom. They control everything you do, and you get punished one way or another. So it's really not that fair. Um, your money, your nest egg is always risked in the market. There is never one time where there's a guarantee where you have any sort of financial protection at all. If we look at historics, in 2008, S&P dropped 37%. In 2020, 33. In 2022, 27%. So these big market collapses happen. And if you're not diversified, you're going to experience that pain also. That's a fact. There are fees in these type of accounts, typically between half of a point to a point, which over time can reduce your total nest egg without adding any real value to you. So in my experience, most of the people that I talk to, nobody likes paying fees, but they really hate paying fees if they're paying fees just for commission and they're not getting any added value. And even while you're losing money, you're still paying the fees. There's no permanent life insurance and no financial protection if you get sick, injured, or anything like that. So if you have a 401k or an IRA and you pass away, that money can go to your family, but there's a chance that it can get stuck in probate. There is no real death benefit, and it's all going to be taxable. So life insurance allows you to transfer that money tax free without having to worry about probate or any of the other stuff. So it's usually a better option for legacy. The other thing that you really need to take in consideration, understand, is when you do retire, you hit retirement age and you start taking money, every time you take money out of the account, you are depleting this principal balance while also having that market exposure. So it's possible for you to withdraw money, pay tax, and experience one of these market crashes that historic data tells us happens and continue to happen. And that's pretty scary. So these are all real problems that you guys need to consider when planning for your future. Now, I'm a visual person, and for most of the clients that I meet with, this really helps them out when they visually can see it. So all of these red circles here, they're basically indicating the market corrections and where your principal balance has to recover when you're utilizing 401ks, IRAs, and other market exposed accounts like that. So, for example, when your account is here and we experience a market crash, like we did in 2018, right? You now, when you are rebuilding, you're rebuilding from this low point rather than at the high point. and it goes up, down, up, down, up, down. And you look at where you started to where you finished, you didn't make that much progress, and it just feels like an uphill battle. And when you're looking at numbers, you can't really see it. But when you're looking at the lines and the ups and the downs, it's very clear. So hopefully that makes sense. Now, here is a demonstration of how your principal balance is affected when you start taking income. So this is you saving up into the point of where you hit retirement age. And then when you start retiring and you start taking income, because you're doing withdrawals, you're paying that tax, and that account is getting smaller and going down. Plus, you're also experiencing the market volatility at the same time. And at the end of the day, right here is basically where it ends at the end of your life. And whatever that number is what you're leaving to your family. And then you have to worry about probate and taxes. So, I can't say it's not a good option, but, when you kind of look at it, does it really look that promising? Not really. There are definitely other options that could be a bit more advantageous once you learn how to use them. So this is how we solve your problem. So what we're going to do is we're going to implement a exclusive max funded IUL strategy utilizing our exclusive IUL product that you've been hearing about in our videos on Facebook and Instagram. And the reason that you're going to want to explore this idea is because it's going to fix a lot of the problems that we just talked about. So IULs guarantee no market losses. They have living benefits and death benefits. Ours up to 1.5 million in case you get sick and even Alzheimer's. Um, when you go to take money out, there's uninterrupted compounding interest. We have proprietary index options and bonuses that can bonus you over 7%, have uncapped earnings and over 245% participation rates. When you go to take income, it's tax-free income rather than taxable income. You have liquidity and flexibility from day one. So unlike your 401k where you can't touch the money before you're 59 and a half unless you want to get penalized in tax, after the first year, you can start borrowing money from your account without interrupting your growth, without paying tax, without getting penalties for it. So that's obviously that sounds a whole lot better, right? That just makes sense. You have borrowing power, and then we have certain riders in place where we can lower the cost of insurance and make it make a whole lot more sense for you. But the point is an IUL could be looked at as a potential better opportunity for most people because rather than having their money risked in the market without having guaranteed income, no death benefit, no living benefits, and interrupted growth, you can have uninterrupted growth, guaranteed not to lose. As far as market volatility goes, living benefits, uninterrupted compounding interest, and not all IULs, but our exclusive one, which is why you're here, we have a rider that literally guarantees you lifetime income so you will never outlive your retirement. And that is so, so important because the only reason you're doing 401ks and IRAs is because you're looking for retirement. So there's nothing better than a guarantee, right? Now, let's go ahead and continue to look at some visuals here. I'm just going to skip through a couple things. Your agent will go through all of this in great detail. But what I want to do is get to the point where we're kind of comparing and contrasting a little bit. So here is a line graph that displays how compounding interest, non-interrupted, interrupted works. So if you look here in the blue, this is the 401k. So we know when we start taking income, it continues to go down and down and down. In an IUL, it works differently because it continues to build because every time you take income, which is this red dot, it's a tax-free loan. And because the insurance company is giving you their money to live on, your money's still in your IUL account principal balance, earning with the index and gets bigger and bigger every year. That's how they're able to guarantee income with the lifetime riders that we use. Now, here is an example of market volatility. So in 401ks, you're going to see a lot of movement, up, downs, up, downs, up, downs. In IULs, you see a little volatility, but it's either up or zero. So you won't get huge market swings like you would in a 401k. But overall, you're going to get steady and consistent growth without having to start from the low. So here, when you experience in that low, you're rebuilding here because your principal balance gets affected by the loss. In the IUL, if you were here and you experienced a 0% year, you're going to pick up next year right from where you left off at the high, not the low. That is obviously very, very smart and very, very good. Why would you want to experience those lows? and have the risk of losing to start over from scratch just so you can have a little bit more upside. That's just greed. That doesn't make it smart. This is what's smart. Consistency is smart. Safety is smart. Coverage is smart for your family. So that's basically the differences and the very beginning knowledge of what you need to know. This presentation is what you can expect to go through with the agent that you see listed below. If you want to learn more about this, you want to learn about all the other strategies that are demonstrated on this website, what I need you to do is scroll down. You'll find a picture of the agent that you're going to be meeting with. All of these agents that you see are going to be trained personally by me, go through my coaching program, which they're paying $12,000 a year just to be a part of it. It is a high level training coaching program. And also, they go through all the insurance company training and the IMO training. Every single agent that you meet with is highly educated, highly trained, and they are looking out for your best interest. I can assure you that. So if you're interested and you want to have the best possible experience that you can imagine, especially when it goes to planning out your future, go ahead and look below, see what date available that agent is available, schedule a meeting, and please make sure that you show up in a quiet room near a computer so you can have the best possible experience. Thank you so much. We all look forward to meeting you.